Welcome everyone to my first video back on YouTube. Now a lot of you guys might know that hundreds of people go missing in national parks or forests every year. A lot of those missing cases are pretty strange, but some of those cases are so mysterious that it leaves people with no other option but to believe in the paranormal.
You might not see me post ever again. My videos weren't fake.
Those were some of the last words of Andrew Dawson, known as Andycapped on TikTok, before vanishing from the internet and later from life itself. Andrew was an ordinary Canadian, sharing clips of his truck, his dog, and walks through nature. But in April of 2022, everything changed. While driving through Jasper National Park, he captured something on camera. A towering figure standing motionless on top of a distant mountain.
What is it?
It's a person, dude. No, seriously, pull over.
No.
It's a person standing there.
No, it's not.
Dude, if you've seen what I've seen right now,
Viewers immediately called it a giant. Even through heavy zoom, the figure appeared impossibly large, far too big to be human. The video went viral overnight. Andrew tried to return to the exact same spot the next day, but this time his path was blocked. He claimed a man identifying as a government agent stopped him from entering the area, telling him he was trespassing in a restricted area. Andrew insisted that this was public land, but the man told him to turn around. The next day, Andrew tried again, and this time he said soldiers were stationed near the road. He filmed brief clips, confused and frustrated. Why was the military blocking off public land? Then, the story took an even stranger turn. A few days later, Andrew posted a short video showing helicopters hovering around the mountain. It was after posting these short videos where he began to think the CIA or other government agencies were after him. Viewers dismissed it as paranoia until he posted footage of the same man who was blocking the road once again. After that, Andrew went silent for a month. When he finally reappeared, something was different. Sitting stiffly in front of the camera, he said,
"Hey guys, I just want to give you an update. I'm not dead. I have not disappeared. I have just been busy with life. I couldn't get around to posting and updating you guys, so now I'm going to give you an official update of what's been going on. Sorry to disappoint you guys, but all the videos that I posted were scripted. They're just fake. They were just strictly for entertainment. Sorry to disappoint you guys. I just needed to give you a quick update."
but his tone was off. He kept glancing off screen as if he was being coerced by someone off camera. 10 days later, Andrew posted his final video, the one that would haunt his viewers forever. And the caption read simply, "I'm scared."
you might not see me post ever again. My videos weren't fake.
This would be the last video he would ever upload. 6 weeks later, an obituary would appear in the Campbell River Mirror. Andrew Ryan Watchorn Dawson, age 34, had died on July 1st, 2022. No cause of death was ever listed. To this day, no one knows what Andrew saw in the mountains or what really happened in the weeks that would follow. Was it a hoax gone wrong, a case of paranoia, or something far stranger? One thing is certain, the mystery of Andrew Dawson and the giant on Whistler's Peak has never gone away. Most UFO stories end with bright lights in the sky, but this one ends with a body and a mystery the government never wanted to explain. On August 4th, 2002, a 39-year-old hunter from Pennsylvania named Todd Sees left home before dawn. He told his wife he was going deer spotting and would be back by dawn. He rode off in his ATV toward Montour Ridge, a lonely mountain just 2 miles from his house. He never came back. When noon passed, his family started to worry. By 12:30, his son found the ATV on a ridge, engine off, helmet still strapped on. No sign of Todd. There were no footprints, no trail, nothing. Police, search dogs, and even helicopters were called in, but the dogs couldn't track a scent, and the air search turned up empty. By nightfall, Todd had simply vanished. The next evening, his son made a terrifying discovery. Todd's body lying in the thick brush not too far from the property. He was wearing only his underwear, his face twisted in terror, and yet there were no wounds, no sign of a struggle. Firefighters had to cut 20 minutes into the brush just to reach him, but yet no wounds, no scratches, no bruises, nothing. Then it got even stranger. The family was never called to identify the body, and officials removed it without a coroner present, which is illegal in Pennsylvania. When the body was returned, it was sealed in a closed casket, and the family was warned not to open it. Months later, the autopsy listed the cause of death as an overdose. Case closed, but locals didn't buy it. Because at 5:30 a.m. that same day that Todd disappeared, witnesses along the Susquehanna River claimed that they saw something hovering above Montour Ridge, a metallic disc glowing faintly in the dawn. It stayed there for 10 minutes, then lit up with a blinding flash and shot into the sky, gone in seconds. Days later, a nearby farmer came forward. He said he saw a similar craft in the same area. A beam of light came down from the sky, and inside it, a man was being pulled upwards, suspended weightless in the light, before the craft vanished. He didn't know who it was, but it happened the same night that Todd disappeared. And that wasn't the only clue. One of Todd's boots was found 75 feet up in a tree. How does that even happen? No injuries, no footprints, no explanation. And almost immediately after the body was recovered, federal agents showed up. They warned locals to stay quiet. No statements, no questions, just silence. Whether Todd's death was an accident or something far stranger, no one knows. But the evidence, multiple UFO sightings, the light with the man inside of it, Todd's body having no wounds, it all fits a pattern seen many times before. The classic signs of an alien abduction case: a beam from above, a terrified victim, and a government that wants it buried. Turns out there's a place in Alaska that people say you can't escape from. They call it the Alaska Triangle. Since 1972, 20,000 people have vanished there. Yeah, 20,000. No trace, no clues, nothing. Planes disappear off radar. Hikers never return. Locals and tourists just vanish. Some blame the brutal weather. Others say it's aliens or Bigfoot, or strange energy vortexes that twist reality itself. A few even say it's cursed ground, an ancient force that swallows anything that enters. But one disappearance stands above the rest, because it didn't just take ordinary people, it took 2 US congressmen and their entire crew. On October 16th, 1972, Hale Boggs and Nick Begich boarded a small twin-engine Cessna 310 in Anchorage. They were headed to Juneau for an event. With them was Begich's aide, Russell Brown, and their pilot, Don Johns, an experienced flyer who logged thousands of miles over Alaska's rugged terrain. The weather that morning was rough: thick clouds, freezing rain, and gusting winds. Still, the men lifted off and disappeared into the gray. Minutes later, air traffic control lost contact. The Cessna vanished from the radar as if the sky had swallowed it whole. No distress calls, no signal, nothing. The search that followed was massive, one of the largest in American history. For 39 days, more than 90 aircraft scoured over 325,000 square miles of wilderness. Military teams used infrared scanners, sonar, and radar sweeps, but every instrument came up empty. Some pilots reported strange anomalies during the search, radios that cut off mid-sentence, and radar blips that appeared and then vanished without any explanation. It was as if something in that part of Alaska was bending signals, swallowing sound. Others described a magnetic haze, pockets in the land and sky where instruments went haywire, the same kind of distortion that became famous in the Alaska Triangle. Theories spread fast. Some say the plane hit a mountain and was buried under ice. Others believed it slipped into one of Alaska's mysterious vortex zones. Some people believe they were abducted by aliens, their plane plucked from the air by something beyond human understanding. But no proof ever surfaced. No wreckage, no remains, no trace of the men who vanished that day. 4 lives gone. 2 congressmen, their aide, and the pilot lost to the wilds of Alaska. And for many, that was the moment that the legend of the Alaska Triangle truly began. Not just as a mystery, but as proof that some places on Earth don't give back what they take. In April 1989, a quiet Montana night turned into one of the strangest mysteries the state has ever known. 37-year-old Patricia Meehan was driving east on Highway 200 near the small town of Circle when she suddenly veered into the wrong lane. Peggy Bueller and her father swerved just in time to avoid a direct collision, but the car behind them wasn't as lucky. It was struck head-on. That second driver, off-duty dispatcher Carol Haynes, crawled from the wreck uninjured, only to see a blonde woman step forth from the other car. Patricia Meehan didn't speak. She simply stared at Haynes, blank, detached, as if watching herself from somewhere far away. She climbed a barbed wire fence, stood on the other side, and turned to look back at the wreckage. Moments later, she walked into an open field and disappeared into the night. When police arrived moments later, they found her footprints leading into a nearby field and then nothing. Her footprints suddenly stopped, as if she had completely vanished. By dawn, search teams, helicopters, and dogs were scouring rugged terrain. They found no sign of Patricia. No clothing, no blood, not a single clue. Her family rushed from Bozeman to Circle, desperate for answers. They searched on horseback, on air, and even explored old abandoned coal mines, hoping to find her. But it was as if Patricia had completely stepped out of existence. Before that night, Patricia's life had been completely ordinary. She'd studied child development, worked on ranches, and loved animals. But friends noticed she'd become more withdrawn and anxious. She had told her father she was stressed and wanted to come home. And her mother, Dolly, had said that Patricia had recently been acting very reflective, haunted by regret that she'd never had children. After the accident, investigators discovered her camera inside her apartment. On the roll of film was a haunting self-portrait, Patricia staring in the mirror, her expression vacant and troubled. Some believe that photo captured the final moments of her former self. Psychologists later theorized she might have suffered head trauma during the crash, causing severe amnesia. She may have forgotten who she was, even that she'd been in an accident. In the months that followed, reports of a confused, soft-spoken blonde woman began surfacing across the Pacific Northwest. Truck stops, diners, and rest areas. But she was always gone by the time police arrived to investigate. One waitress remembers her sitting silently for over an hour, whispering to herself and staring into space. Since 1989, there has been thousands of reported sightings of Patricia. None of them have been confirmed. Her parents never heard from her ever again, but they held on to hope that somewhere out there, their daughter was alive, searching for them, just as they'd searched for her. In 1980, a man from Vancouver Island vanished into the wilderness without a trace. He left behind a single note that still terrifies people to this day who read it. His name was Granger Taylor, a quiet mechanical genius who believed he'd been invited to travel the stars aboard an alien spacecraft. Granger was born in 1948 in British Columbia, Canada. From a young age, he was different. He dropped out of school in the 8th grade, but that didn't stop him. By 14, he had built a one-cylinder car from scratch. At 17, he had rebuilt a bulldozer that mechanics had earlier given up on. Later, he salvaged a locomotive engine that he found in the wilderness and restored it to working order. Locals called him a prodigy, a man who could bring any machine back to life. But as the years passed, Granger's fascination shifted from trains and planes to something else. He began reading every single book that he could find on UFOs and alien life. In his backyard, hidden beneath the fir trees, he constructed a life-size replica of a flying saucer. It wasn't meant to fly, it was just a place to sit, dream, and think. It was around this time his friends reported he began hearing messages, voices from beyond the stars. Granger told his friends he began to make telepathic communications with aliens from another galaxy. On top of that, they'd invited him to take a 42-month journey through the galaxy. Most of his friends thought it was a fantasy, or Granger was just joking around. But Granger seemed utterly convinced. On November 28th, 1980, the night of a horrible storm, Granger spoke to his stepfather, thanking him for everything that he's done. This was the last time anyone would hear his voice. Before leaving, he taped a note to his parents' door. "Dear mother and father, I have gone away to walk aboard an alien spaceship. Recurring dreams assured me of a 42-month interstellar voyage to explore the universe, then return. I'm leaving all my possessions to you. Love, Granger." That night, he drove off in his 1972 pale blue pickup truck and disappeared. No one saw him again. For 6 long years, there was nothing. Then, deep in the forest near Mount Prevost, fragments of a truck were discovered. Twisted metal, apparently destroyed in an explosion. Investigators believed it to be his, but no remains were found. No evidence. So what happened to Granger? Did he wander off into the wilderness and give up on life? Was it just a tragic accident? Or did he really keep his promise, traveling the galaxy with aliens? To this day, Granger Taylor's disappearance remains one of Canada's strangest mysteries. A story suspended somewhere between fact, fiction, and the paranormal. In September of 1992, 2 hunters in the deep wilderness of Oregon stumbled upon something that no one expected: the scattered remains of a missing boy. The items belonged to 17-year-old Corey Fay, who vanished about a year ago. Nearby lay his backpack and rifle. His jacket was later found 6,000 feet up in the cliffs above them. Then came the bones. Bone fragments, a skull piece, and a single tooth. But the strangest discovery of them all? Enormous bare footprints pressed into the snow. Corey wasn't an inexperienced hiker. He trained in outdoor survival, hiked outdoors often, and knew the Badger Creek wilderness better than anyone else. On November 23rd, 1991, Corey and his friend Mark set out to hunt elk. They were well prepared: food, shelter, and even a solar blanket. But as night fell, they lost their bearings. Despite warnings about hunting after dark, they split up. Mark returned to the car, but Corey never did. The search lasted 10 days, with helicopters, search dogs, and hundreds of volunteers who covered a 12-square-mile radius. Months passed. Then, almost a year later, those same hunters made the discovery. Investigators were baffled. Why would Corey trek uphill in deep snow alone? The bone fragments were scattered across miles, his belongings in totally separate places. It made absolutely no sense. And then the footprints, massive, human-shaped, but far too long to belong to any man. Theories began to spread. Some claimed Corey was accidentally shot by another hunter. Others suggested hypothermia, saying he panicked and wandered off course. But Corey had food, shelter, and he knew how to survive. Then came the animal theory. A cougar maybe? But there were no bite marks, no torn clothing, and no sign of struggle. Predators don't typically scatter remains across miles of the wilderness. Something else had to have happened. The most chilling theory came from the footprints themselves. A helicopter crew searching that winter had photographed them. Bare, human-like, twice the size of a grown man's. Many people believe Corey crossed paths with Bigfoot. David Paulides, who investigates hundreds of missing person cases just like this, believe that creatures like Bigfoot might have something to do with these strange disappearances. If that's true, then Corey might have wandered into its territory, got stalked, taken, and then carried off into the mountain wilderness, never to be seen again. To this day, no one truly knows what happened to Corey Fay. Only fragments remain. His jacket, a few bones, and footprints too large to explain. The forest still holds its secrets, and Corey's family is left with one haunting question: what really took their son?